Hear ya.
Okay. Everything was quiet. All right, here we go. Monday.
Hear ya.
Well,
Can't see me. There I am.
So is this um is this everyone that we're expecting tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
This is all, yes, we only have Martin, and Martin cannot attend.
Okay. All right. Well, then I would like to open up the Madison Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency meeting for Monday, February 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. We've got Lee Schumacher, Anna Loss, Joseph Boudreau, myself, Kayla Freidenberg as agency members, and Maria Patello as our staff person. Okay, so it looks like, looking at the agenda, we need to elect a chair and vice chair.
Yes.
Okay. I am open to hear nominations.
I nominate Gaylola Friedenberg for chair and Joe Boudreau for vice chair.
Okay. Anna, do you want to nominate yourself or anybody else? She's like,
No, I
"No."
think Joe is talking. You may have been on mute.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to nominate Raquel for vice chair, but I'll stay on.
Okay. Well, we have a pretty slim pickings here. But good pickings, hopefully. Okay. But I am obviously happy to share if anybody else wanted to leap in. So any leaping in?
We'll accept Lee's nomination for vice chair.
Okay. All right. So we need to vote. So Joe has made the motion, I think, to accept the nomination as Kayla Freidenberg for chair and Joe as Boudreau as vice chair. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. We have a second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of our nominations for an election for chair and vice chair, raise your hand, say aye.
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 All right. It's
Thank you.
unanimous.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
We're looking at you next year, Anna. Don't know what spot, but we're looking at you.
I'm no longer a newbie.
That's right.
Who's secretary these days, Maria? Is that Joe still?
There is none.
There is none. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the chair and vice chair.
Okay. Well, our second agenda item is, pull it up. Did I just get rid of it?
Bartlett, would you close your?
I know, I think I closed it. So it's application 24-54 458 Bartlett Drive. We received this last month. We did a site walk, or at least some of us did a site walk in January. And since then, the applicant has sent in a revised application or site plan, as well as some notes about the wetlands and a planting plan. So it looks like we have the applicant and the wetlands expert on the line. So do you want to kind of give us a slight overview of the plan and maybe highlight what has changed since last month.
Sure. Just for the record, good evening. For the record, I'm Mike Ott. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor with Summerhill Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors here in Madison. And Matt Davison is, oh, there he is. Yeah, is here with us also from Davison Environmental. I think I'm not sure, Maria, but the property owners, John and Alissa Amara may be in attendance also.
Yep, there they are. You want them
Okay.
to be able to talk or?
Sure, if you want to, just in case. I don't know that they will, but just in case. May I share my screen?
Have at it.
Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, as Kayla has said, this is the revised plan we submitted. This is revised to January 20th, 2025. And we didn't make any changes to the pool or the patio or the retaining wall or the patio surface water infiltration system. What we did do are the things that we talked about on the sidewalk. Let me see if I can zoom in here. We added a note. Hopefully you can see my cursor moving to indicate that the alternate soil ramping method for installing the geosynthetic silt fence sediment barrier would be used so that we don't have to trench the typical installation. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'll have to move around, I guess, here. We added some notes here, these construction notes that talk about having a meeting in the field with the inland wetland officer before any work is begun. And the wetland scientist would be in attendance also, and myself. And that the wetland scientist, that the inland wetland enforcement officer would also come back prior to the start of the construction to review the installation of the sedimentation control barriers and the dewatering facility that we'll put in place. We also added plantings. If I'll zoom in again. And these little circular symbols along the infiltration system and then along the face of the wall, if you can see my cursor moving, we added those plantings. We added the minimum dimension, the closest dimension from the wetland boundary to the face of the retaining wall. That's the 19 feet that we talked about on the field walk. And we also added these notes that Mr. Davison has put together regarding the plantings and monitoring. I believe those are the only changes that we made. And I think, yes, those are the only changes we made. And I think I'd like to turn this over to Matt, if that makes sense, Matt, for you to explain the plantings that you chose and the planting and monitoring notes that we've added to the plan. And I can keep the plan up if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Mike. Sorry, I was looking for my plant list and I think I sent it to you and I didn't put it in my own report.
Oh, yeah, you want me to zoom in on it, Matt?
I think I remember what they are actually. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Okay.
So for the record, Matt Davison with Davison Environmental, professional soil scientist and professional wetland scientist. I delineated the wetlands here in November of last year. It's a forested wetland system. Actually, Mike, are you able to share my report?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Did the
You-
commission see the change in my screen just then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you
so
go to
there's
The very last page, Mike, it has an aerial that shows our location with the wetland, and I think that's helpful. So there's our site, and this wetland is a forested wetland that extends beyond this figure here to the east, and it looks like there's two intermittent water courses that drain out of this system towards the Neck River, I think about 1,700 feet to the east of the site. I did a wetland functions and values assessment. The wetland functions and values were groundwater recharge, principal wetland functions and values, groundwater recharge, discharge, flood flow alteration, which is the ability of a wetland to capture and detain flood flows, and sediment, toxic, and pathogen retention, nutrient removal, or what I call the water quality functions, are also principal here. Essentially, slow moving water that sits in the wetland and has time to for pollutants to be attenuated. Actually, if you go to the photos there, Mike, that'll be helpful too. When we first conceived this project, Mike and I explained this on the site walk, met with the property owners out on site, and there was a few parameters that we were sort of wanted to maintain what we thought to make the project viable. For me, it was keeping the pool in this project within what is the current maintained lawn area, as well as utilizing materials for the patio that provide for infiltration so that stormwater can be infiltrated in the ground. And Mike was able to do that with his layout. And so you can see in this photo here, for the site walk, the face of the retaining wall was marked out. And the face of the retaining wall generally falls within the yard area, or falls within the yard area. There will be about 2 feet. I think it's about 2 feet, as Mike explained, or maybe 3 feet beyond the face of the wall where they'll need some room to work. That'll extend us into what you can see there is sort of some dense shrub growth, which intervenes between the yard and the wooded area. That shrub growth right now is primarily sweet pepper bush, which is a native wetland shrub, which is pretty common in the shoreline areas here. Beyond that is forest. We won't be taking any trees down, but of course we'll be working in proximity to these trees. There were a couple in particular that we looked at in the field where we thought the root zone could potentially extend back into where the retaining wall is. But it does look like for the most part, the trees are beyond where the retaining wall would go, beyond where any excavation would go. And I think the root zones, for the most part, are beyond that as well. There's only one real large, what I might call a specimen tree, a white oak, that's located basically where I'm taking the photo to my right. The feedback clearly, some of the feedback we got on the walk down or on the site walk was, it's close to the wetland. And so, there was clearly, without expressing it, some desire to have a meaningful mitigation plan, and what I thought was probably be the need for a meaningful monitoring plan here, especially given the proximity of the trees there and the fact that the trees are along the wetland edge and shading the wetland. And so after the site walk, I did come up with a mitigation plan, and that's what Mike had shared with you. And essentially what it is the shrubs that are shown there are, we're going to basically replant all the clethra that are the sweet pepper bush that's disturbed along that boundary there. My guess is that once the site work is done, a lot of that will just recolonize naturally, but we are providing the plantings. I think that will ensure recolonization. We also added some clusters of winterberry, and then I added some shadblow in there, which is a taller shrub, which will provide some shading. Those are sort of sporadically along the face of the retaining wall there. What I'll highlight, I think, is so we've included that in the plan in my report, and also incorporated into the plans is a basic construction sequence, which outlines the shrub plantings. And then I've documented what I'm recommending for monitoring. Again, I was sort of coming in trying to be thorough with the monitoring, and I'm certainly open to any suggestions to enhance it. But essentially what I've proposed for monitoring is 3 years of monitoring following construction, And the monitoring would document, let me see here. The monitoring will document the success of the plantings. It will document the presence of invasive species, and it will also document the health of the trees that are just beyond the retaining wall that are along the wetland boundary now. I've documented the item number 2 in my monitoring sequence there, or my monitoring items, is the success standards that will be documented for the reporting. Standard 1 is that at least 80% of the plantings are alive and healthy. Standard 2 is no invasive species are present within the planting area. So I made that very rigid. There's no percentage, essentially no invasives. I do expect that there will need to be ongoing invasive species control there. My advice to the homeowner would be just to retain a company like All Habitats and just have them go out for the 3 years that we're doing the monitoring and just make sure they treat any invasives along the wetland boundary. There was a little bit of wineberry, maybe a little bit of multiflora. There's not a lot of invasives in that area, but of course, anytime you disturb an area, you run the risk of having invasive species proliferation. So that standard is no invasive species. And like I said, I expect that some treatment will have to take place. And then standard 3 was that no trees greater than 12 inches diameter breast height would be adversely impacted by construction, sufficient to the degree that could cause mortality. So essentially what we'd be doing there is documenting any injury to the trees, which would probably not be, there probably not going to be any physical evidence of injury above ground, but what if there was damage to the root zone that did introduce some type of pathogen or cause some type of problem for the tree, you would see that within those first 3 years. You would see the health of the tree start to decline. And then within that same monitoring program, I would be providing recommendations to address non-compliance to those standards, including supplemental plantings, both tree and shrub, and expansion of the planting area if tree mortality is observed. So essentially, if we see a tree that's declining that we suspect was impacting during construction, what I would recommend is that we would expand the planting area into that area and introduce some tree species there that could replace those trees. I probably would advise, as most of those trees are leaning away from the home, that if a tree is in decline, just let it be. It'll provide obviously shading for a period of time and then allow for new plantings to just come up around it. And that's essentially what I have.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Does the commission have any other questions?
Mike, what is that rectangular area north of the spa on the opposite side of the wall?
Here, Joe, where my
Yes.
cursor's moving, that is, you see this note up here, that's the patio surface water infiltration system. Those are
Okay,
3 precast concrete chambers.
okay, yep.
I was looking
And
on the agenda and I saw there was an NDDB request, but no determination yet. Is that in progress?
That's a different
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was River,
sorry.
River Street.
Yeah.
I was
Thanks.
worried I'd do the same thing.
That's a different one. We'll get to that.
Sorry.
So it's proposed to remove the pepper bush that was in the photo, and it's going to be replaced by a few plantings in between the wall and the wetlands.
Oh, you're muted, Matt, I think.
Thank you. I suspect that pepper bush will be damaged during construction. I don't think it will be eliminated altogether. So I think that you will have some recolonization of what's there now, but the plantings would sort of ensure that you're getting restoration of that native band or of the band of clethra that's there now.
So unfortunately, I wasn't at the last meeting and I missed the site walk, but I did drive by and I was able to see around, and I did notice the backyard did drop off So is any fill coming in to elevate the area of activity, or is that gonna be like from the pool excavation and then it gets flattened out within the wall area?
Yeah, it would be from the pool and the spa excavation, Joe. Mostly from the pool.
Okay.
There'll be material leaving the site. There'll be an excess of material.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised it's only 3 feet, 3 foot
Yeah,
wall. So I was afraid it would be 8 feet. So this is better than I thought.
yeah, that's one of the, as Matt explained, that's one of the things we talked about when we very first met out there, was to keep the wall as low as we could.
Hmm.
Other questions, clarifications from the applicants?
For the standard that Matt was talking about, standard number 3, it says sufficient to a degree that could cause mortality for trees no greater than 12-inch diameter. So does that mean you guys are going to be doing limbing out there? Possibly?
There's no limbing, you mean, Andy, you mean trimming the trees that are along the edge there now? No, there's none proposed. Actually, when you're out there and you see a lot, they're all pretty much leaning away. So they're not actually providing a lot of shade to the yard area now. If you look at the way the house is configured, I think the house itself is providing some shade, so the trees are naturally leaning away from that whole area to try to gain sun. So no, there was no intention to do any cutting or limbing or trimming of any of the trees that are there now.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Um, anything else the commission would like to discuss? No. Okay.
I did just take a quick look. It's not within an NDDB polygon. Just
No, yeah, we have another
Thank you.
it's
applicant.
close, but it's not within. There's
Thank you. I
one further
apologize.
to the east. No problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
I'll just say, Kia,
Go ahead.
sorry, at first when I saw the site plan, I thought that dotted line was encompassing a very large uh, area of like patio deck. And then I'm seeing that there is lawn for like about a third of it. So that made me feel a little better. And then the height of the wall, I feel is very minimal. So I was happy to see that too.
Yeah, yes, I think it will end up taking up most of the extant lawn there.
Yeah.
But yes, it is, it has been thoughtfully designed and mitigated. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, so Mike, you can maybe stop sharing your screen. Thanks. So if the agency member saw, Maria very nicely has put together a staff report for us. And so we can, if you had a chance to look at that, I can try to share it. Let me see if I can share it. I can. All right, can you see, what can you see? Can you see the?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I think it'll be useful for us to kind of quickly go through this. It's very helpful. So what this has done is kind of synopsized what the application is, what we the information, the clarification about the site that we got on the site walk, and also mentioning the updated information that Mr. Ott and Mr. Davidson had just gone through. So the draft resolution, which is where we're most interested, if you could quickly look through this, we have our typical, in number 1, our typical condition is that the agency's agent shall be notified at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. And then we have our ENS guidelines as well. Then we do have the planting plan being called out both here and of course on the site plan itself, which is extremely helpful. And also, again, more details about the monitoring and success standards for the planting plan in number 4. So, given that, does the agency feel comfortable making a motion?
I do.
I would like to see if number 4, it could be 100% survival rate. Because there weren't many plantings. So like I think there were 10 trees. It should be easy to keep all of them alive.
I don't think I think the plantings is related to the shadbush, pepperbush, and winterberry that is
Winterberry.
right, that is going in, not any of these are all shrubs, right? Not trees.
Yeah, so I would think it should be easy to make it a minimum of make it 100% survival rate. That's just me.
Okay, well, we can obviously, once we have a motion and a second, we can modify this. I just wanted to put this out as if people are comfortable, then we can make a motion on this and then of course do our usual step through as well.
Okay. No, I'm glad you showed it back to us. I needed a refresher.
I move that we approve application 24-54 458 Bartlett Drive with the conditions noted in the staff memo. I'm comfortable with 80%, but we can talk about that in the discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Right, we have a second.
Mhm.
Okay, so it sounds like we have, just we have a couple of opinions on the 80% versus 100% survival rate. I mean, we could offer 90% if we want to compromise. I think, Joe, a lot of what we have asked in the past, this is standard with what we have asked in the past of applicants, is to have at least 80% survival rate after 3 years. I agree that probably, 100% would be ideal. They probably will have close to that, given that it's luckily in an area that already has mostly native vegetation. But it is standard with what we have asked in the past.
No, I definitely know that it's standard, and I know it's often helpful when 30 plantings are proposed or 40. So here, excuse me, here I'm sure the homeowners won't let 1 out of 10 die. I'm sure they'll replace them. So I'm good with the 80.
Okay. Any other comments or conditions that people would like to put on or discuss? Okay, I did note, and thank you both to Mr. Ott and Mr. Davison for highlighting the notes on the site plan. That's super helpful, with respect to having staff come out before everything happens and making sure everything is done properly. So that is, noted and appreciated. So if we have no further comments, all those in favor of voting on our staff resolution for 24 -54 458 Bartlett Drive, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, unanimously approved.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, so that was our one action item as far as pending applications. So now we have 25-01-193 River Road. This is for receipt, and we did receive a staff report with some recommendations, one of which is the NDDB report to have for this. But that's good, Anna. We need to, it's good that we have we have it out there. So,
Somebody read it, yay.
right, I know, I was like, we read it, we're paying attention.
Plus, do they know how big they want it? Because there was like a discrepancy on the size of the garage.
Um, I don't know yet. I mean, it's on the site plan, but that I did see something different on the
On the
septic.
the health.
Yeah.
That's
Chuck
nice.
Mandel is here if we had any questions, he can speak. I did just want to say though that from the things I saw online from our historic documents, the wetland line was different from a site plan I saw when the house was built in 1991. So I did have a question on that. But Chuck is online if he has anything to say, he might, offer some. I did send him the staff report as well, so he may have some additional information.
Okay. Okay, well, happy to hear from him. I guess, one thing for us to remember for these receipts, and this is great that, Maria, that you have a staff report for us for this, since it is receipt. Sounds like this one is a site walk, and probably also given what's being proposed, and because the extent of the grading and construction activities close to the wetland and upland review area, it probably is something we might consider as a significant activity, with the possibility of having a third party, hiring a third party to give us feedback on this. So those are all things that, we should talk about tonight, since it is just received, and that would help us kind of move forward in a more efficient way with this.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, if he could get us more information, we may not need to move in that direction. It was just received, like I think on Friday, I think I got the paper copy last Monday and, was working on the staff report. I wish I could have gotten it to you sooner, but, let me, see if Chuck wants to talk. Let me get, is he there?
Start video. Good evening, everyone. So as Maria said, I got this report fairly late in the day. We did submit it late in her defense. So, and we do have an NDB request in. We haven't gotten results back. The wetlands were flagged by Molly Ahern. She worked at CLA, so she was working under Bob Russo. Bob Russo had been ill for a while, so he was out of commission. Molly Ahern came and flagged the wetlands. She subsequently has left CLA. She got a job at the Rhode Island Environmental, their version of the DEP. So she's no longer with CLA, but Bob Russo is back now. He's back and healthy, so he will be taking over for signatures and verification of the wetland boundary. It's a lightly wooded wetlands. Based on her report, it was for mostly flood storage and stormwater mitigation. The plan that you have before us is for a 2-bedroom accessory dwelling unit. We're very limited as to the location of where we can put this. And Maria, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but accessory structures cannot be forward of the main structure. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, where it is, it's fine. It just, the bedroom
Right.
count.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll get that resolved.
Yeah.
Because so typically a lot of times the architect sends us a plan that has nothing to do with our site plan late in the day, and all of a sudden there's an extra bit. So we're constantly reacting. But the actual shape of the structure is not going to change much, and the location, we're kind of forced into that corner right against the building setback lines. So I will have that information. I'll set and based on the comments from the first application, I've got some good marching orders. It was a very well thought out plan based on the information from the Wetlands Commission. And if you could set a site walk, we'll have it staked out and then you can make a determination. You can make a determination now whether you want a significant activity or not. I know some towns automatically call everything a significant activity, so they don't get into arguing with neighbors. Why wasn't it a significant activity? This may warrant it if you just want to set it tonight, and then we can just keep moving forward instead of waiting another month and then decide what you want a public hearing for the next month. I don't want to tell you what to do, but my recommendation would be for you to just call it a significant activity, and then we can present next month and we have enough time to react and send out notices.
I don't know
Usually
if
you
that's
want to-
necessarily true.
Usually you want a section 13. I'm shocked.
Joe, you're right. You're right about that. But even I can't parlay this one.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, well, it looks like, I mean, just looking through.
I don't know if that's necessarily true that you will have the time, first of all.
Oh, okay. Well, either
Yeah.
way, Maria, it'll
Yeah.
save time with the
Yeah.
committee because I believe it may warrant it anyway.
Yeah, you know, just from what we've seen, it's, you know, it's close, it's a lot of disturbance in the upland, it's close to the wetland. I think, yeah, as noted in the staff report, there's missing, even if, you know, we like to have when the wetlands were flagged, and it looks like there's no date and there's no report, especially, so that's always helpful. Okay, so for the Inland Wetlands Agency members, do you have any, so we need to, I think we are gonna do a site walk. And so I
Right.
think our other question is, do we just go ahead, given everything that we know already, and call this a significant activity and kind of move forward? Because that does help make it more efficient, given all the extra information we're going to need to gather with a significant activity designation.
Was this the proposal that was like 19 feet from a wetland?
Actually, it's 11.7 feet.
11.
Oh.
It's closer.
Okay, I'm all in for significant activity.
It's close. There's a lot of activity happening within the review area and close to the wetland.
Okay.
And we need, you know, we're also going to want to hear from Deep with respect to the NDDB.
Oh, there's a new septic. Yep.
Yeah, so that's part of what was called out, is that there's that they're awaiting septic approval. You know, there's a lot going on in this.
Yes.
I did receive a email from Trent saying there's suitable soil for septic, but he has not had a chance to review the plan as of yet.
Okay. And that wetland is like full of trees?
Lightly wooded, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yep. All right.
And did
Okay.
you see, Chuck, did she do a report?
I do have a report, Maria, and it's dated November 25th, but
Okay.
I didn't want to submit it because she's no longer there.
Oh,
And
got you.
Bob Russo had been out. So I mean, it's right here. I mean, not that it
Yeah.
matters, but I did have a report from
Well,
her.
just because if you look at the as-built from when the house was built, the wetland line continues all the way here and all the way, like encompasses right where this would be. So that was just my, you know, and I just questioned, I just had a question on that.
Yeah, I am going to have Bob Russo back out there in the commission,
Okay.
and I can
Perfect.
actually have him on the walk if he's available. I would like to do that actually.
Okay.
Maybe take some test borings and look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if there's a discrepancy between the previous, you know, the as-built, as Maria's saying, and what we have here. We'd want to make sure they're,
Right. This is one of those wetlands where, you know, if I walk it, I don't know I couldn't tell the difference between upland and wetland. It's one of the trickier ones. So some are very obvious that anyone could notice, but this is a tough one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then good that we'll have Bob Russo back out with us as well,
Yeah,
or at least
what-
good that he'll be with the project.
What's the process for a third-party review? Again, what do we need to do to get that going if we need to?
Well, we need to send a bunch of letters out to, well, we have, first, if it's gonna be significant activity, we'll send a new letter out, giving a new date, there's a new fee involved, and then we have to send out letters to any, to parties, seeing if they're interested in, applying to review it. And then
Yeah.
we have to take a fee from the applicant for their fee to review.
Right. And, right. And in the past, these haven't been, I mean, it depends how busy people are, but hopefully, this is not as big as like the Barbary Hill Farm project that was a big, where we did get third party. We also got third party, I think, for the Horse Pond subdivision. This one and the Race Hill, I don't know if we got the one.
Well, that's
for-
why I was, if Chuck, I know he wants to keep it moving, but I was like, if he had hired somebody themselves to do a functions and, full functions and value and.
Well, as I said, I will have Bob Russo do that based on the comments from the first application. I noticed there were comments that were addressed that the commission had made prior to the second the revisions for that last plan. So
Right.
function values, planting plan, mitigation plan, that will be on the next one. My only problem with, and I don't mind third party review, and I get it. There was a Barbary Hill. You did the one on Cottage and Mill Road. There was third party that went to court. That was that was another one. But this is this is like a 2-bedroom single family ADU, and I know the commission is more than capable of looking at it, but to get the third party review, I mean, it just adds more expense, and I know cost means nothing to the commission. But I mean, if we could avoid a third party review, I would like to not have that cost involved, because Bob Russo might be one of the ones that you would hire for a third party review if I had, let's say, Davison do it, or some other soil scientist. So that's just my 2 cents. That's all.
Well, my 2 cents would be, and again, it's your decision. I'm not necessarily pushing for anything. I was interested to see what Chuck could do. I know it was a very, I don't want to say last minute, but it was just submitted a week ago. And I know that they're anxious, the applicants. So if there was more information that he could supply before the next meeting, we see what we see, and then what he submits in addition, if you still wanted to move in a certain direction, that's fine too. But that's up to you if you want to call it now or not. We would have to walk relatively quickly, because I'm not here on the 22nd, so we'd have to walk either the 8th or the 15th. So
The 8th or the 15th, what? That's next week.
well, yeah, the 15th.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the Keys next week, so if we could avoid that.
On the 8th or the 15th.
I am leaving on Thursday, and I'll be back the week after that. So
So the 15th you would be here for?
You would be here for the 15th.
is that a Saturday?
Yes,
Yeah.
those are the Saturdays.
I think I'm getting back on Saturday.
Well,
And I'm not- yeah,
and I'm not here on the 22nd either. I'm out of
yeah.
town. So, okay, well, we'll have to sort out a site walk because we're definitely doing a site walk. I do think it probably does warrant significant activity. And I guess what we're deciding is whether we do third-party review or not.
I guess, and
ahead.
this may depend on the timing of the site walk. Can we defer that decision till after we have a site walk? Or
The
do we
third
not?
party? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, you could defer both until after you've had the sidewalk if you want. You don't have to decide it now. You could do the sidewalk and then decide at the next meeting, this is what direction you're going in, and then
Right.
the clock starts over.
Yeah,
Ish.
Fair
let's see what
Yeah.
we're facing.
Yeah, to see what you're
I'm
facing.
good with that if we have enough time for all that.
well, we'll have to get the site walk, but Chuck is saying he's out of town and not getting back until the 15th. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So I'm flying in on the 15th, so I'll be there Sunday. But no one, if anyone wants to do it on Sunday, I can do it on Sunday.
And you can't, there's nobody, it would have to be you.
on site. No, I can get Bob Russo. I can get someone else out there.
It's, I mean, it's, if you want to be there, yeah, I don't want to like throw you off, but.
Yeah, I'd rather be there. So, and
Yeah,
the 22nd doesn't work because Kilo is not going to be
and
there.
I'm
And-
not here, which I
and
can get
Rick.
Aaron, but Kay is not here. So-
Right. And we can't do it on during the week at all.
I don't know. That would limit that would limit people as well. Some of us
Okay,
may be able to, not
let's
all of us.
let's just do it the 15th then. That's fine. I won't be there and I'll find somebody. And I'll try to get Bob Russo there. If something happens, then we may have to delay it. But at a minimum, I'll try to get Bob Russo there.
Okay.
So
Can other people do it on the 15th?
Yeah, I was just looking.
I'm saying that and I'm like, I think I just know I'm physically not here either. Like
I'm
away.
okay on the 15th.
I'll be
I'm
here.
free.
Mhm.
Joseph?
Well, I'll be around.
Okay.
And we're talking morning, right? Or like
Yeah.
8 o'clock would be great because I have something in the rest of the day, but 8 o'clock is great. Okay, so we'll do a site walk and what, are we not going to do significant activity or are we just going to put off the third party thing or both? For the agency members, tell me your thoughts.
It looks to me like it's a significant activity, so I would
Okay,
make that tonight and
right,
put off
and
the
we
third
can
party.
hold on. Perfect. That's, I just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
And significant activity means public hearing, right, Maria?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so should I make a motion that the commission deems that the activity proposed at 193 River Road be decided as a significant activity causing a public hearing at our next regular meeting?
And yes. Do you,
And- Want the site walk to be part of that motion?
no, do you have to state which ones you're basing it on or no? No.
What?
Okay,
So
what your reasons are?
believe
No,
so.
go ahead.
Calling it a significant activity based on the descriptions in our wetland regulations.
Well, here,
I don't have them in front of me.
I'm just pulling them up. It's section 7. Is it 7?
Oh, here we go.
2.1,
I just happen to have them right here.
2.72? No, it's 7.
Yeah, it's 7.
Page 13. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I see the requirements for when we deem something a significant activity, but I don't see like what the standards are.
so that's section, it's section 2. So significant is,
Oh, I went to 7. Okay.
so a significant activity means any activity, including but not limited to the following activities, which may have a major effect or significant impact on wetlands or watercourses. It's a deposition or removal of material in or from the regulated activity. An activity which perceptibly changes the natural channel or otherwise changes the dynamics of a watercourse system. Any activity which diminishes the natural capacity of an inland wetland or watercourse to support desirable fisheries, wildlife, or other biological life, prevent flooding, supply water. I'm kind of skimming through these. Any activity which is
Yeah, 'cause
like,
not all of them, yeah.
yeah, so I think,
I'll go with number 6, since this activity has a likelihood to cause or has the potential to cause pollution of a wetland or a watercourse.
okay, and what we don't
you
know,
could do one there also, Joe.
One, the depo, yeah.
I would do 1 and 6.
yeah, I think 1 and 6, and what we don't know is, if 7, I don't know if I guess that's not a species thing, that's the unique.
Mhm.
because we had the NDDB report we don't have, but I think 1 and 6 would cover it.
I agree. So my motion is to declare the proposal for 193 River Road as a significant activity based on reasons 1 and 6 under the definition of significant activity.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor of deeming this a significant activity, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it is unanimous. Okay, and then we'll have a site walk set up on the 15th, it looks like.
I will have representatives there for you.
Excellent.
And we'll work out the counting of the calendar tomorrow, Chuck, and let you know.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
And the calendar starts tonight, Maria. It hasn't been on the agenda before.
no, it has not.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just received.
Yeah, we just received tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun, the keys.
Thank you, I will.
Okay. So, our next 2 items are section 13s, which is very kind and
But we
lovely.
have the fire department.
Oh, wait,
Receipt,
you're right. I
one more receipt.
down. It's a receipt. Yes, sorry. Thank you, Joe. I was very
You're welcome.
anxiously just scrolling ahead. Yes, we're also receiving tonight application 25-04 665 Boston Post Road, 677 Boston Post Road, and Boston Post Road map 38 lot 88-1. And this is for, as you said, the Madison Hose Company to construct a 2-story addition to an existing firehouse and replacement of septic system and minor site improvements within a 100-foot review area. Okay,
This isn't the one near Cumberland Farms, right?
Yes,
yes.
It is.
yes,
They
it's
want
right
an
next door.
addition.
So they are demolishing what used to be Bella Perlina. I think it's Ciao Bella now. Those
Right.
2 little buildings, they own that property. They have for quite some time. And they are demolishing that building and the little store building behind it. They've already gone to ZBA for a variance. And they are building a 2-story addition. They'll be putting some additional bays for trucks that they don't have to jockey around their trucks anymore. And it's also in conjunction with a grant for the town to put their emergency operations center up on the 2nd floor. So the firehouse kind of benefits because that's where they need to put the center and it's their property. And so
Okay. Yep.
they are merging after we go to wetlands. They're also submitting an application for P&Z for special exception, and they'll combine those properties, the property next door and the lot behind, which abuts the pond, to make one large property.
Okay.
It's been in progress for quite some time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember hearing about this. So, and yes, I read through their application and they don't really have much alternative. There's really not a lot of scope for action to move anything back there. And it sounds like they're going to replace the septic.
Yes.
Okay. So Maria, do you have any, I know you gave us the staff report for River Road. I'm assuming since we didn't see one for this,
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, we've extensively looked at the plans. We've sat down with them quite a few times prior to the ZBA application, the P&Z application. So they've hired professionals that are involved, Munger Construction's involved, and there's a lot of it was a good application.
okay.
So it's if you want to walk it, you can go and you can just ask with the permission of them. If it's public, it's not public, it's private property, but it's viewable from
Right.
a lot of from Tuxas Walkway if you wanted to look at it. But
Okay.
yeah.
how much rear yard is there?
Want me to bring up the plan?
Yeah, I didn't see this plan yet.
Excuse me.
And is the commission having a public hearing for this?
Mm-mm.
Not saying we need to, but
Oh, the P and Z? I think it's a
Yeah.
special exception, so I think they have to, yes.
Yeah, I think P and Z
okay,
will have
so
to
we
have
don't
one.
have to worry about it. Okay.
No, it already went to ZBA. It's in front of ACCA right now. They already went once. They have to go again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of eyes on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the application. It was very messy.
It's hard to,
let's see.
So this is one parcel. This is the other parcel. And this is the pond parcel behind it. That's all going to be merged. You know, this is the existing Bella Perlina building. And that's the other, whatever, junk to junk or something behind it. And I'm trying to figure out, like, it's hard to tell where the building's going.
Right, but it's gonna somehow, the new one is somehow gonna be where those two are now.
Yes, I think where is it? It's super,
They're not pushing it behind.
no, it's not. It's not
So
gonna be
it's
any
just-
further. No,
right.
it's not gonna be any further behind. It's pretty much gonna stay within the same footprint
Okay,
of
that's what,
what's
that's what
existing.
that's what it seemed like, that it's
Yeah,
it's not going back farther.
no, they're taking up, you know, whatever little space they can. How come I can't see the lines? It's horrible.
Well, it's an incredibly
It's
detailed,
busy. It's very
and
busy.
very busy application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, does that answer some of your question, Joe?
Yes.
So
Yep.
here it is, second page. Here, this is the proposed addition.
Oh,
Okay, so it's right,
Yep.
it's
Right, yeah.
So they're
about 70 feet from the water. Okay. Maybe 60.
so there's not gonna be any work behind it, Maria, is that what you're saying?
I think there's septic work.
yeah, I think there's septic, but and we can ask about that. And they're adding more impervious surface, I think.
Yeah.
So I imagine we'll want to get into some of the detail on stormwater management.
Yeah, here it is over here with the,
Yeah, that's the septic.
there's a septic detail.
Okie
Oops, sorry.
It's okay. Other questions or clarification? I mean, we're only receiving it tonight, so this would be if we want to call it significant, if we want a site walk. As Maria did point out, this is pretty easily seen from the road and the walkway.
Yep.
So, if you want an official site walk.
I
now,
don't need to see it. I think I can drive by it.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Okay. So that's great. All right. So that's received. And so we'll see that next month. All right. Now our section 13.
Yeah, our next act.
Maria has done. So it looks like we had 3.
What did I do?
So you had a Shepherd's Trail driveway, permit application,
Yep,
modification, and then
modification. Yep,
and then an opening hill.
yep, that's a demolition, which I've never done. That was the first one I've ever done. It's quite a bit of ways from the wetland, but it's right on that old little house right on the road across the street from 6 Opening Hill Road's a very, very old house. Probably don't even like notice it. It's literally like on the road.
Okay. And they're taking the house out.
They're taking the house down, just taking it down. The people next door who own the property, they actually live in Guilford and they own the property next door. And they now bought this property. And so they're just knocking it down so nothing can get built. So,
Okay.
yeah, they live on the Guilford side.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then there's Mungertown, a deck.
Yeah, it's a deck replacement, same size, same location. It was about 78 or 80 feet away from the wetland line, and they are, you know, tried to get him to do it on the existing frame, but he's like, yeah, it's not compliant anymore, which is why they're replacing it. So it's a hand dug, you know, they'll hand dig
Okay.
and all that jazz. So
Okay.
Yep.
That sounds good. Okay, enforcement. We have 129 Green Hill, that's table till May, so that we can actually see how
Yep.
things grow. And then Railroad Ave, we're in the same boat as far as just seeing how things end up looking once the growing season starts.
yes.
Okay. And then we had Deep giving us notice about what they've allowed to happen in some ponds. Gonna be a big no comment on that. And then we have our regular meeting minutes. So we have October 7th because we didn't have a meeting in December. And then we
Right.
didn't have quite enough people to adequately, as I recall.
In January, there was only 3 of you, and you weren't
Yeah.
at the December meeting or October
I
meeting or
wasn't at the
something. So,
October meeting,
yeah,
so
you couldn't
it was
say yes
difficult
or
for
no.
me. So yeah, that was great.
They look
So
good. The October ones look good to
Okay.
me, as far as I can remember. And
I remember
January
reading them.
ones look good
They
too.
were good,
okay,
but I wasn't here last month.
right, yeah, and that's where it's going to get a little bit tricky for all of us. Okay, so it sounds like there aren't any comments for the October one for those.
I move we approve the regular meeting minutes of October 7th, 2024.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? No, I'm going to abstain since I wasn't there. Okay,
How many people were at the meeting last month?
set 3.
3.
Okay, so you'll need
So
all 3 in the same room to
yeah,
approve them.
who was it? Oh, good. Well, luckily the 3 we're all here.
Oh,
It was
'cause
the other 3 of us outside of yourself.
Yeah.
you don't need a quorum to vote on minutes, so.
Yeah. So Anna and Lee, anything?
No, I thought they looked fine.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from January 6th, 2025. That is. Okay, Lee second. All right, all in favor of
Oh,
approving?
oh,
Oh,
oh, I'm sorry. For what was that one you're doing, January 6th? We do have to talk about one thing though. Go ahead, you can finish that.
can we vote on the January 6th?
Yeah, go ahead, vote on the January. It was about the October. Raquel reminded me.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor of approving January 6th, 2025 minutes, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Joe's going to probably abstain.
Yes,
Yes.
I abstain.
Okay, so those are approved. Yes, so you're right. I think you're talking about what we wanted to amend with respect to the language.
Right. So we did receive a letter. I'm gonna see if I can find it. We received a letter from a resident. Where did I save it? Where did I save it?
See if I have it.
Oh, here it is, Nordgren email
Okay.
from Jim Nordgren, who was speaking about Stony Lane, that subdivision. And during during one of the meetings, he was saying that Chuck Mandel noted a approval, that it was a condition of approval for some kind of permeable nitrogen removal layer cake reactive barrier. And that was not, it was not a condition of approval. He misspoke. And Mr. Nordgren just wanted it put on the record. Well, he actually wanted us to amend our minutes, to change our minutes, but we can't physically change the minutes, but that was not the case, that it was not a condition of approval and that he misspoke because he didn't want anybody getting the impression in the future that that was something that was approved.
Okay, so, yeah, so as long as Raquel puts that in these
Right.
minutes, it's
Yeah.
noted.
Right,
That
and I told
we-
him that's how it's handled. It's corrected and noted on the, and then we just never, we didn't have a meeting. That was October. He sent me the email in November and we didn't have a meeting, so.
Okay, so that can be in today's minutes, that we have discussed this and noted that that should be noted, that Mr. Mandel misspoke, right?
Yes, yes, I mean, I think at one time it was, when we clarified even last month too, we spoke about it, that it was the permeable reactive barrier or passive nitrogen layer cake system was talked about. And they happened to put it in as just a safeguard, but it was not a condition of approval for you guys. So that's
Okay.
what we just wanted to clarify.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that will be clear in the
It's
minutes.
clear,
then.
it's in, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you, and thank you, Raquel, for remembering. You're right, there was that little part.
Yes.
Okay, so we have approved the minutes. So now we have remarks from the Inland Wetlands Chair, newly elected.
Look in the chair.
I don't have any remarks. I think it'll be great if we, as many of us can make the site walk on the 15th. That'd be helpful, especially since we've deemed it a significant activity. Plus it'll be fun to see everyone.
Yep.
Hopefully the snow will be
definitely wanna
gone.
Yeah,
see
well,
that
it'll be going pretty quickly. Oh, right,
Yeah.
but we get more. Okay, and Maria, now you get a chance, in the wetlands agent. Any
I'm
re-
not sure if I mentioned it last time. I'm not sure if I knew last time, but we did get some new interest.
Yay,
We,
That's
we, from what I hear, it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but we did receive, forward to, now, so when I say this, we get applications, we don't get the applications. If you're interested in joining a board or commission, the applications get submitted online through the first selectman's office. Sometimes they say what board or commission they're interested in, and sometimes they just, the board of selectmen just appoint people to specific boards or commissions. We did have two, I believe, that were interested in wetlands. Those applications then get forwarded on to the prospective political, parties, the RTC and the DRC, and then they get vetted and then recommended to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen then appoint.
okay,
I've seen applications come in.
well, that's good.
So that's where we got with there. I haven't, I could check on it to see if there's been any movement. And then hopefully we'll get some additional people.
Yeah, it would be great so that we can keep
And
not
again,
be,
like I said, it's not only, I just, my
High
vice
pressure.
chair from ZBA has just decided to hang it up too, so,
okay.
yeah, it's, it's happening.
I woke up January 7th thinking, oh my God, I forgot last night. And then I went around town kind of nervous. Didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, you missed the meeting. Well,
Yeah,
but you're here tonight. That's
It
good.
was the holidays that threw me off.
Yeah, it was a little
And I think
abrupt.
it was also not knowing who I Ting was. That was really threw me
I
off.
Ting Quinn is our new administrative assistant. Michelle has moved on.
I got that.
And she's she's amazing. Yeah, she's incredible.
That's
She
When I
moved
great.
here
saw
from
her name, I'm
California,
like, it
so
didn't click
she's
it.
now
So
an East
that was
Coast
on
girl.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
where we're at.
Well, that would be great if we get more members to kind of expand our ranks a bit.
Yeah, it makes it tough. I mean, I do, for the people that it's always a public hearing, for like ZBA, if there's not enough, that's just it. And, they have to
Yeah.
be notified if there's only a certain number, because then all votes get to carry. And with you guys, we were able to have a meeting in with the three people, but, look, it was only a receipt, so it made it a little easier, but.
Right.
um,
Yeah, no, and for everyone, it's better to have more people, looking and approving at these applications instead of depending on three of us. Okay. Well, that's all good. So I
Yep.
will, the last motion of the night.
I'll make a motion that at 8:08 we adjourn this meeting of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission.
All right, second. Oh, Lee's seconding. All right. All in favor? Raise your hands. Say aye. All right. Oh, unanimous.
Aye.
All right. We'll see you on the 15th.
See you on the
Have a good
15th.
night.
All right.
Good.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
for